It started with one shocking moment that fans never saw coming. During a live interview meant to celebrate his new project, Xiao Zhan suddenly brought up Wang Yibo's name, sending waves of emotion across the entire fandom. The host looked stunned, the audience froze, and social media exploded within seconds. With a deep breath, Xiao Zhan said softly, "There are things I've held inside for too long. It's time to let them out." The tension in the room became almost unbearable. Everyone expected a typical, polished actor's response, but instead, Xiao Zhan went personal. He began recalling the early days on the set of the Untamed. He described how Wang Yibo was distant at first, how both of them struggled to connect despite working side by side. "We were two completely different worlds," he admitted, his voice trembling slightly. But as filming went on, something shifted, something neither of them expected. According to Xiao Zhan, it wasn't fame or scripts that brought them close, but honesty. "Behind the cameras, we talked about everything, our fears, our mistakes, and the pain that comes with this career," he confessed. "That's when I realized he wasn't just my co-star. He was my mirror." Fans watching the stream were in tears. Some said it felt like Xiao Zhan was finally healing years of silence. Others noticed the way he smiled when he mentioned Wang Yibo's name, a mix of pride and sadness all at once. He paused for a moment before continuing, "When things went wrong, when the rumors spread, we both promised to protect each other, even if the world misunderstood us." His voice cracked slightly, and for the first time in the interview, he looked away from the camera. He explained how the pressures of fame and public scrutiny often pushed them apart. But even in silence, they found ways to stay connected, a text during hard times, a quiet visit after a long day. "No one saw it, but it was real," Xiao Zhan revealed. What truly shook fans was when he admitted there was one day that changed everything, the day after the Untamed wrapped. "We didn't speak for hours," he said quietly. "Then he came over, gave me his jacket, and said, 'Let's not lose this.' That moment, I'll never forget." The host, visibly moved, asked, "Do you still talk now?" Xiao Zhan smiled gently. "Some things don't need words anymore. We understand each other differently now." Immediately after the interview aired, the internet went wild. Hashtags like hashtag Xiao Zhan and Wang Yibo Truth and hashtag Behind the Untamed dominated trending pages. Clips of his emotional statement were shared millions of times within hours. Fans speculated endlessly, was this a reunion message? A goodbye? Or something deeper that the two were too careful to put into words? In the following days, reporters tried to reach Wang Yibo for comments, but he remained silent, until one cryptic post appeared on his social media, a single photo of two coffee mugs, side by side, captioned "No distance." The air in the studio seemed to shift the moment Xiao Zhan mentioned Wang Yibo's name. For a second, the interviewer hesitated, unsure whether to press further or let the moment pass. But Xiao Zhan's eyes said everything, he was ready to talk. He leaned back slightly, his expression softening, as though revisiting memories that still carried both warmth and weight. He began, "You know, people always think what they saw on screen was perfect, the chemistry, the laughter, the brotherhood. But behind all that, there were nights we didn't even speak, days when we didn't know if we could face each other after the camera stopped rolling." His voice trailed off, filled with both nostalgia and something unspoken. The interviewer leaned forward, whispering, "Was there a fight?" Xiao Zhan smiled faintly. "Not a fight. More like silence. The kind that happens when emotions run too deep to explain." Fans watching the live broadcast flooded the chat with shock and heart emojis. "He's talking about Wang Yibo," one comment read. Another wrote, "This feels so emotional, he's holding back tears." Xiao Zhan continued, recalling a day on set when things weren't going well. "We had been filming a difficult scene. Tension was high, and one of us stormed out. I stayed behind, staring at the monitor, wondering if we'd ever get that spark back." His lips curved slightly. "But when Yibo returned, he didn't say a word, he just stood beside me, handed me a bottle of water, and said, 'Let's get it right this time.' That moment told me more than words ever could." The interviewer asked softly, "Do you still talk now?" Xiao Zhan's smile grew sadder. Sometimes. Not as often as fans might wish. But the bond, that's something you don't lose. No matter how far life pulls you apart. The audience gasped. Some fans were crying in the comments. Others were typing, they still care about each other, and this is too emotional, I can't handle this. He paused again, gazing down for a moment before continuing, what people don't see are the nights we'd sit quietly after filming, just talking about our dreams. We weren't just co-stars. We were two people trying to survive fame, pressure, and misunderstanding. Then came the part that left everyone speechless. Xiao Zhan revealed that one of his hardest moments during his career was when rumors began to swirl about him and Wang Yibo drifting apart. I saw headlines that said we had become enemies, he said quietly. But Yibo called me that night and said, don't let them break the story we built. That call. I'll never forget. The studio went completely silent. Even the host was visibly moved. That's powerful, she said. Did you ever tell him how much that meant? Xiao Zhan nodded slowly. Not with words. But I think he knew. As the conversation deepened, Xiao Zhan confessed that working with Wang Yibo changed him. He's someone who challenges you to be better, not by saying it, but by showing it. That's rare. The room went still as Xiao Zhan took a deep breath. Cameras were rolling, fans were glued to the livestream, and every word that came out of his mouth carried the weight of years of silence. His voice trembled slightly, not from fear, but from the emotions he had buried deep inside. People have made up stories about us for so long, he said softly, looking directly into the camera. But the truth is not something I ever thought I'd share publicly. A sudden hush spread across social media platforms as viewers typed in disbelief. Was he finally talking about Wang Yibo? Xiao Zhan continued, during the filming of the Untamed, we weren't just co-stars, we became something more. Not romantically, but emotionally connected in a way that's hard to explain. We trusted each other when no one else understood the pressure we were facing. He paused, eyes glistening. The memories were vivid, long shooting nights, shared laughs between takes, and moments of quiet support when fame became too heavy to bear. There were times, he said, when I thought about walking away from it all. But Yibo was there. He reminded me why we started. Fans flooded the comment section with crying emojis and heart reactions. Some even said they could feel his sincerity through the screen. But Xiao Zhan wasn't finished yet. What happened behind the scenes wasn't just friendship, he admitted. It was brotherhood, loyalty, and sometimes, painful silence. His tone grew heavier as he looked down, fidgeting with the microphone. We had arguments. We had misunderstandings. Fame changes people, it tests bonds. And we were no exception. He revealed that one of their biggest fallouts happened after a misunderstanding during a major event. Rumors spread that Xiao Zhan had refused to take photos with Yibo backstage. That wasn't true, he said firmly. We were both exhausted. And I didn't know how to communicate my frustration without hurting him. The crowd of reporters leaned in closer, sensing a deeper confession coming. I didn't realize how much distance had grown between us until we stopped talking altogether, Xiao Zhan continued, his voice nearly breaking. It wasn't about ego. It was about fear of being misunderstood again. Then, after what felt like an eternity, he smiled faintly. But time heals. And sometimes, silence isn't anger, it's protection. He went on to describe how, months later, Wang Yibo reached out to him privately. He just sent me a simple message, "Are you okay?" That one message broke all the walls I had built up, Xiao Zhan said, his tone soft but warm. That's the Yibo people don't see, the quiet one who cares deeply. As the audience listened, Xiao Zhan's words painted a picture of two men who had grown, stumbled, and found their way back to understanding. We met again for a private dinner, he said. No cameras, no scripts, just us. And it was like no time had passed. Fans online began trending hashtags like #Shao Zhan Wang Yibo reunion. The air in the studio was thick with tension as Xiao Zhan continued his revelation. The audience, silent yet electrified, leaned in as though they could pull the truth out of his trembling words. He took a deep breath before finally saying, "What really happened between me and Wang Yibo, it wasn't what people thought." Fans watching live from across the world began flooding social media with comments, unable to contain their emotions. Hashtag #ShiaoZhanTruth and hashtag Wang Yibo behind the scenes began trending within minutes. Everyone wanted to know, was their friendship real, or just a beautiful illusion built for the cameras? Xiao Zhan looked down for a moment, visibly holding back tears. "There were days when we didn't speak," he confessed softly. "Not because we hated each other, but because we didn't know how to deal with everything happening around us." His voice cracked slightly, and even the host appeared unsure of what to say next. He went on to explain that fame had changed everything. During the filming of the Untamed, they shared laughter, secrets, and even silent glances that only true friends could understand. But as fame skyrocketed, so did misunderstandings. "There were too many voices around us," Xiao Zhan continued. "People twisting stories, creating things that never existed." He admitted that sometimes they'd argue, not out of anger, but frustration. "Yibo has a strong personality. So do I. We both wanted to protect what we had, but we were young and overwhelmed," he said, letting out a deep sigh. The fans watching could feel his sincerity. Many took to comment sections writing things like, "My heart hurts hearing this," and "Their friendship was always deeper than we knew." Then came the part that shocked everyone. Xiao Zhan revealed that one of their biggest disagreements happened right before a major award show. "We were supposed to appear together, but we had an argument that morning," he said. "I thought he wouldn't show up. But when I walked on stage, he was there, smiling. That single moment," Xiao Zhan said, "changed everything. I realized that no matter what, we'd always show up for each other. Even when things weren't perfect." The host asked him if they were still in contact today. A small smile spread across his face as he nodded. "Yes," he replied quietly. "We may not talk every day, but the bond we formed, it never disappeared." At that point, a few photos began flashing on screen, unseen moments of them laughing during breaks, helping each other rehearse, and even sharing snacks on set. The audience gasped, some tearing up at the sight of their unfiltered friendship. Xiao Zhan looked at the photos, smiled gently, and said, "People saw two actors. But for us, it was always two friends trying to navigate something much bigger than ourselves." He went on to share that Wang Yibo reached out to him when things got hard, particularly during Xiao Zhan's most difficult career moment. "He didn't say much," Xiao Zhan recalled. Backhand index pointing right. What do you think really happened between Xiao Zhan and Wang Yibo behind the scenes? Was it deeper than friendship, or just misunderstood loyalty? Share your thoughts below, because this story is far from over. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe and turn on your notification bell for more update on your favorite celebrities.